Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and this is an early April greenhouse update. And just to let you know that I seem to have forgotten to do a March greenhouse update, which is unfortunate, but these things happen. I did do quite a number of other kind of greenhouse videos during that month, so well, anyway, so it goes. So just giving you a pan around the greenhouse this early April, and then we'll get into it in a bit more detail, looking at individual plants and kind of taking it from there. And here we are at the top again. And I guess I'll start over here on the show side of the greenhouse. Now in winter, this is the section that I like to keep looking good, because you know, you can't keep it all looking good. The greenhouse is somewhere where I overwinter a lot of plants that are just expected to tick over. But I do reserve this spot here for just arranging plants in a neat and nice way that they look good. And I suppose the first news here is with my variegated Aeonium. And as you can see over here on the left, it is going to flower. And that's kind of bad news, because when an Aeonium rosette flowers, then it dies. But I will have seed, and I do hope that this Aeonium will come true from seed and that the resultant plants will be variegated. Just to the left of it, pumping the greenhouse with its heady scent, is Coronilla glauca, and this is a fantastic plant that perhaps doesn't look much to you with its pea-like flowers, but the scent is to die for, and the bright splash of sunshine when there isn't a whole lot going on in the greenhouse is certainly welcome. Although things are waking up and we do have a bit going on at the moment. I notice a lot of the succulents are putting up spikes, like the Gasteria here. There's one there, and down the front also. Now, as you can see, both of these Gasterias, I think they're actually the same one, but they're quite different colours, and I think that's to do with exposure to light, and one of them's been more exposed than the other. However, they've both decided to flower, so that's really good. And we also have flower spikes on this little gem here. And as usual, look out for the names of these plants, the botanic names that will go up on the screen. Quite a delicate little thing. The flower just as delicate as this kind of ball of light that is the main part of the plant. Really, really nice. And next to it we have my species Pelargonium. This is the Old Man Live Forever one, and you have just missed a flower spike. It's the first time it's ever flowered for me, and it's just gone over, but I do have another spike here, and there was one that was broken as well. But yes, I'm really pleased with that. Definitely due a repot though. We have some Sempervivums, which I recently bought for a specific purpose in the garden, and I might actually make a video about that when I plant them out. And a baby plant of the Agave Mediopicta, the mother plant being just down below here. I'm going to confuse you now by sweeping down and having a look at the mother plant, which is there beside Boo Boo and looking really well. And behind it we have my Dicksonia tree fern and Sparrmannia, which has been flowering all winter and looking really good, finished now. And then underneath the leaves of the Dicksonia we have a Schefflera that you saw me buy just recently at the Alpine show, and that will be planted in the garden. It's not a greenhouse plant, but yeah, anyway, that's a nice picture, isn't it? And here we are back again on the main shelf with Compton's Carousel, Echeveria Compton's Carousel, looking really good. and putting out a rosette that's almost completely white. And this gorgeous four-coloured agave looking really good. And here we have a flowering on this succulent. Look at those. This is a kalanchoe as I recall. Let me see. Cotyledon, I beg your pardon. But I just love the delicate bell-like flowers, almost like fritillarias, but obviously the foliage is completely different. It's definitely a succulent. And beside it, we have calanthe. Now this is a recent purchase I made, and it's a hybrid, no ID calanthe, but oh my god, the scent is to absolute die for. It is amazing. And I've had this in my kitchen just waiting for it to open fully. And when I came into the kitchen each day, I was practically bowled over by the glorious scent. Now, not in a bad way, you know, some people can't stand the scent of lilies, that they're completely overpowering. This was just gorgeous. And I kept running to my Cattleya to see if that's where the scent was coming from. But no, it was coming here from the calanthe. I do have exciting news for you on the Cattleya front, but that'll have to wait for another video. Aren't they so gorgeous? Real little beauties. I'm reluctant to leave this because it really is such a stunner. And can you see the other orchids over there that are in flower? Let's take a walk over here. Oh, well, before we do, hang on, let's do this kind of thing in order. Epiphyllums. I always get those two names mixed up. My epiphyllums, a load of them are in bud at the moment. And you can see that here. I mean, so many are in bud that I wasn't able to display them all on these shelves to the fore. So I think this one is just the Deutsche Keiserin, but it's a nice neat little plant, so it found its way up to the top. And here we have more buds here. And that Ripsalis that always looks good but never flowers. And here, we're about to have a look at the Cymbidium, the final epiphyllum I want to show you today. It has a bud here and a bigger bud in there. And this one is quite an exciting one. Let's see what it is. Oh yeah, this is hard to believe. It has flowered for me before, but I'm looking forward to it flowering again. And as I film this epiphyllum, my head is right up against the calanthe, and I can tell you it is absolutely amazing, the scent. Okay, so we have a Cymbidium in flower, and this one is Cliff Hutchings' New Horizon, cascading green flowered Cymbidium, which is giving me 2 flower spikes this year. And they really are quite elegant. Have a look at the lip in there. Really, really attractive lip. And at the end of this spike, the final bud isn't yet open. But if we move up again and past the phylogeny, which we'll come to in a minute, you can see the top of these. And the petals really are very elegant, don't you think? There's nothing kind of blobby and nothing very kind of rounded about them. They're tapered, very nicely tapered. And here we can see the second spike from this plant, which only has 2 buds on it. So really it's kind of like an afterthought. Okay, so Phylogeny cristata is beside this orchid, and we have 2 flowers open at the moment, another one which is thinking about opening, and there is another spike at the back which is not too far behind. That's all I see for the moment, but I will be hopeful that more will come as this plant progresses and develops. Just moving to the back. You can see how the pseudobulbs are very, very yellow. I gave it too much light last year. There's that other spike back there, which of course has to be on the exact opposite side of the plant, of this very large plant, as that one. So how on earth am I going to show the two of them off together at the same time? It's just not going to be able to work out for me. Okay, let's have a look further down the greenhouse. And just below the Coelogeny we have an Easter cactus, which is shaping up to give me a lovely flowering this Easter. And Easter is about a week away now, so that's really quite timely. Poor plant. Easter moves every year, a different date. How on earth is it supposed to keep up? Can you see those buds there? Lots of them. And this really is a pretty thing when it's in flower. I really like it a lot. If we move over to the left just here, we see an impatiens, which is in bud. This is an unusual one. I won't pull out the names on the screen. I don't need to go pulling things out. And my big yellow Cymbidium, which you'll recall looked so good. And at this point in time, I'm just inserting a little photograph of it when I took it out onto the grass to water it a few weeks ago. And this was long after it had been in any video, and you can see how good it was looking even still then. It's really at the end of its lifespan now for the flowers, but it really has earned its keep this year. So pleased with it. And in front of it we have the Clivia, which is still in flower, still has some flowers, and they've turned really quite red. Whether that's to do with the age of the flowers or just the cold in the greenhouse, I don't know. But it's flowered well this year despite the terrible scorching it got last summer. And in front of it we have a species Pelargonium, and the name of this one is going up on the screen. It's in flower, as you see. And this is one with spines all over its stems, which is unusual for pelargoniums, you must admit. Let me see. Maybe not so well. But anyway, it's just coming to the end of its flowering. I think this featured in the last couple of videos, but it's looking good. So here in front are the Aeoniums, which you saw me propagate essentially last autumn. So these were all stems that were cut and plunged into dry compost. And at this stage I do believe that they have rooted. In any case, I've started watering them, so they better be. No, I'm absolutely sure that they are. Aeoniums are the easiest things to root. I remember the first time I bought an Aeonium, I was told, oh, there's such a hard plant to root, you can try taking the rosette and cutting it off and putting it in compost, and half the time it doesn't work. What an absolute lie. Just a ploy to get me to buy more of them, I guess. Okay, so we're just going to walk up the staging here, and we have, well, you know, I have lots of things in the greenhouse. If I were to mention them all, we'd be here all day. But the Veltimia finished flowering. I cut off 2 of the flower spikes, but I think I might try and get seed from these 2, so I left them. And here we have some more pelargoniums. This pelargonium is just coming into flower. Should look good in a bit. And over on the left we have my depleted orchid table, because many of the orchids have been brought up to put in the staging because they were looking so good. But yeah, oh, I have to show you this. My puya, look at my puya. I did a job on it, cut off all the lower dead leaves, and it looks just so much better. Nearly ruined my hands doing it because of course the thing is covered in terrible spines, but it looks so much better now rather than having this kind of array of dead leaves just kind of making a mess of everything. I need to do a job on the Aeonium, because Aeoniums, they get so many lower dead leaves, but I kind of run out of energy by the time I'd tended to the puya. But yeah, I'll do it sometime. Okay, just glancing over there, we can see my Protea, which is going to give me 2 flowers this year, shaping up really nicely. They should be in bloom before too long, looking quite advanced now. And just moving around here, what else have I got to show you? I guess Bartlettina, this one here looking so good. Couple of trees of it. I will plant these out in the garden and they'll make a fantastic show this year. Oh wow, hey, check out this. Oh, I meant to pull this out that you could see it better, but this is my Sanchez, or it's the Giant Dandelion from Madeira, and it is just looking fantastic at the moment. It's confusing. There's the trunk. It goes all the way up here. And the leaves have just really, they really look fantastic. Meant to take this out and put it at the top of the greenhouse so you could see it better, but well, I forgot. And just here in the corner, Trevesia, which, well, it's come through the winter. I see it's putting up a new growth there in the middle, which is good. So I'm just facing back up the greenhouse now and swiveling around past the orchid table, and we are going to walk across here where my Furcrea are there, and there's another tree fern which is looking quite good. And oh yeah, I have to show you this, Begonia Luxuriance. So this is the plant that you saw in my house plant tour. And I have 2. I keep one in the greenhouse, and as you can see, this one is somewhat desiccated, as happens, and this one will be planted in the garden in summer. It'll pick up, it'll be fine, but it's actually in flower, look. Now they're not very spectacular flowers, but if I get my act together I could take some seed there and grow some. Wouldn't that be exciting? And what else have we got in here? Bananas and things like that, and there those Proteas you saw me mention from the other side of the greenhouse. And we've just swung back to the orchid table because I noticed that my Disa orchids have buds. That one, and over here there's another one here, that one. I was going to repot them and now I don't want to repot them. So that's Sandra. Can't remember which colour that one is. And this one here is, oh, that's the one I got in France, the big orange one. But oh, I really should repot them. Ha! It's hard to keep on top of everything in spring, you know, there's just so much going on, so much to be done outdoors in the garden. And then you have a whole load of repotting and stuff, not to mention orchids that are waking up and need some attention. Okay, so just walking up to the top of the greenhouse, and I am going to have to stop here now because there are pots of dahlias in my way. I just found this Pelargonium is sending up buds. This is Tomboy. And we'll just pop it back in here. Now if I'd noticed that I would have put that up in the shelving as well, but I didn't. Just to show you the dahlias, which I recently potted up, and some of them are starting into growth, and soon I will have a nice dahlia display in pots that I can put into the garden, because I don't keep a dahlia display in pots. Okay, so that was our quick run around the greenhouse to see what's looking good at the moment, and we've kind of scratched the surface as always, never getting to the bottom displays here. I guess I can just very briefly show you some of this stuff. So here we have my papaya trees and my tomato trees and my Silamaderense, which seems to be dying back now. Australian grass tree back there, and various potted plants that, well, there's an unboxing video coming up where I unbox under hailstones, and you will become acquainted with a lot of these plants in that video if you watch it. And there are the plants I bought the other day at the Alpine show. Oh, and just one more thing I wanted to show you, and these are the tetrapanics that you may recall I potted up last autumn, and they're doing well. See? So I will plant these out soon, and I will have more tetrapanics in my garden. And that brings me to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll check back for lots more stuff. And the final shot, as always, is of Boo Boo. So bye from Boo Boo and bye from me. Bye.